I want to walk you through one single silent treatment, minute by minute, hour by hour, the way it actually unfolds in real time. 'Cause I believe when you slow it all the way down like this, you see just how much is really happening underneath what looked like just nothing, just quiet. Minute 1. Something got said or something got done, and one person just stopped talking, stopped responding. And right here, right at minute 1, ain't nothing dark happened yet. Sometime a person just need a minute, need to collect theyself before they say something they can't take back. That's normal. That's human. Don't nobody owe an instant response to every single conflict. 1 hour in. Now here's where it starts to shift, depending on the person doing the silence. For some folks, that hour is still just cooling off. But for others, and this the part I want you to pay attention to, that hour start turning into something else. Start turning into a message. The silence stop being about needing space and start being about making the other person feel it. You can almost feel the difference in a room, even without a word said. One kind of quiet feel like a person catching their breath. Other kind of quiet feel like a punishment being handed out, real slow, on purpose. 3 hours in. This is the point where the person on the receiving end usually start doing something real particular. They start performing, asking small questions, real careful, testing the water. You want something to eat? You good? Watching close for any little crack in the wall. And here's the dark psychology starting to show its face, the silent one. If this is a manipulative silence and not just genuine need for space, is watching that anxious performance, and some part of them is getting exactly what they came for, control. Not out cruelty necessarily, but out of old belief that being upset with somebody don't count, don't register, don't matter, unless the other person is squirming a little, trying to fix it. 12 hours in, full day more or less, and now the silence done stop being about the original disagreement altogether. Can't hardly nobody even remember exactly what started it no more. The silence itself is the whole conflict now. And this the point where real damage start happening to the person on the receiving end. Psychologists folks talk about this. Being ignored by somebody you love activate the same part of the brain as physical pain do. Ain't no metaphor. Real, actual, measurable pain, same pathway in the brain as a burn or a broken bone. So by hour 12, the receiving person ain't just uncomfortable no more. They hurtin' in a real physical way, and don't nobody around 'em can see the wound, so don't nobody offer no sympathy for it neither. 1 full day. 24 hours of silence, and now something start happening in the receiving person's mind that's real dangerous long term. They start rewriting the story, start believing, quiet, that they must be the one who did something truly unforgivable, 'cause surely, nobody would go this long, this cold, over something small. The silence start manufacturing a guilt that might not even match what actually happened. That's one of the cruelest parts of a long silent treatment. It don't just punish somebody for a real wrong. It convinced them they committed a bigger wrong than they actually did, just by how long and how cold the punishments stretch on. 3 days. Now we deep into it, and here's what's happening on the silent one's side, if we honest and fair to them too. Some silent treatments, by day 3, ain't even about power no more, not consciously. Some folks genuinely don't know how to end it once it's gone on this long, 'cause ending it require admitting the silence went further than it needed to, and pride get real tangled up in a silence that stretched out this far. So sometime, by day 3, both people is stuck, one drowning in manufactured guilt, and one trapped in a silence they don't even fully understand how they still inside of. 1 week. And here, if a silence stretch this long, this regular, this is where I want to say something plain and direct, no dressing it up. A week of silence, used as a repeated pattern in a relationship, ain't discipline, and it ain't just somebody who needs space. That's a form of emotional punishment, and it teaches the person on the receiving end a lesson that go bone deep. That love in this relationship is conditional, that connection can be snatched away without warning, without explanation, and held hostage until they perform enough guilt to earn it back. Now, stepping back from the whole timeline, I want to say clear, needing quiet time to cool down before a hard conversation. That's healthy. That's wise even. The dark psychology I'm talking about today ain't about that. It's about silence used as a weapon, on purpose or not, to control, to punish, to avoid accountability, or to make somebody suffer long enough that they stop asking for what they originally needed in the first place. If you recognize this pattern, either side of it, the one going silent or the one left standing outside a closed door, performing, guessing, hurting, I hope walking through the timeline like this helped you see it a little clearer. Silence can be a doorway to peace, used right. Or it can be a room somebody get locked inside of, with no explanation of how long the sentence gonna last. Tell me down below if any hour on this timeline felt too familiar. I read every one. I'll see you next time.